The year was 2014. I had just gotten dropped off at college and I was for the first time given access to the dangerous combination of fast, reliable internet and copious amounts of free time. And I'm certainly not proud of this, but at times when I was alone in my dorm, I would sit down, open a private browsing window, and frequent a website called Jalopnik. Now you might have cringed at hearing that name, but what a lot of people forget is that at one point, Jalopnik used to be a respectable automotive publication. Back then you saw a lot of writing from no-name authors you may or may not have heard of, named Doug DeMuro, Freddie Tavares, nobodies. Anyways, I remember sitting in my dorm as an 18-year-old and scrolling through Jalopnik one day and coming across an article encouraging readers to check out a website called GooNet Exchange. And if you're unfamiliar, what GooNet Exchange is one of many websites that lists cars for sale, kind of like an auto trader. However, they also provide a service where you pay them, they secure a car for you in Japan, and then they handle the transportation into your country of choice. And I will never forget being one of those kids who grew up on Gran Turismo and sitting there scrolling through these lists of dirt cheap at the time cars that I had previously just kind of accepted were never going to be a part of my life because they were unobtainable in the United States. So this is the first time that in my mind gears were kind of turning and it was clicking that this was something that in the future I might be able to do. And from then on, it has been a bucket list item of mine to buy myself, purchase a car in Japan using one of these sites, and bring it over to the United States. So today, 9 years after establishing that dream, we're finally going to do it. I'm going to hop on these import sites and we're finally going to select not a GTR. I don't have that kind of money, but we're going to find something turbocharged and all-wheel drive and JDM. And if you're familiar with this channel, you probably know what that means. Okay, so that this video isn't like 3, 4, 5 hours long, I'm essentially going to summarize the shopping logic for you. I narrowed it down pretty immediately, knowing that I wanted a K car, to a Suzuki Alto Works, a Subaru Vivio, a Mitsubishi Minica, or a Daihatsu Mira TRXX. So, first of all, cannot find any good Mitsubishi Minicas at all. Secondly, the Daihatsus, I really want an all-wheel drive one, and they're really rare. They're a lot rarer than the Alto Works. I looked at quite a few and just decided that not only is it harder to find one, but it's going to be harder to find parts for one, and that's already something I've run into with my Pajero Mini, which is a fairly common car. It's just not a headache that I need, especially with a car that I'm probably going to try and daily drive because I have no common sense. The Vivios were interesting, but I just don't like them as much as the Alto Works, so I really honed in on the Suzukis. Now, I mentioned GooNet Exchange earlier and alluded to the fact that there were multiple sites to do this. The big three, it seems like, are GooNet Exchange, Car from Japan, and BeForward.jp. These are the three sites that if you're just going to browse classifieds and let the company handle all the import and everything for you, that's probably where you're going to end up. So I pretty quickly honed in on this car, which is perfect. Now, when I say perfect, the auction sheet for it, which I was able to find by Googling the chassis number, does show that there was some rust found somewhere on the car. I don't read Japanese well enough to understand where. But this is a 1998 Alto Works. Now, here's the trick. The registration year and month, this is for the original time the car was registered, is listed right here. We're on BeForward right now. Now, as I'm filming this, it is February of 2023, which means that for a car to be 25 years old and eligible for import, it has to have been registered prior to February of 1998. So perfect, right? I started talking about this car with customs agent, with some different importers, and I decided to search the chassis number for this car, just to try and get some more details on it, and I found something really interesting. This car's manufacture date is October of 1998. Now, how does a car get registered before it's manufactured? So I started doing some Googling, trying to figure out which piece of information was correct and which one wasn't. And I found out that this generation, this is the 5th generation of AutoWorks, wasn't even released and went on sale until October of 1998. So obviously there's something fishy here, maybe just a typo. I like to kind of go by Hanlon's razor on this sort of thing, but really dodged a bullet. I'm really glad that we did some extra digging on this car, because that would have been trouble once it reached the port in Baltimore. So I accepted from that point forward that we weren't going to get any 5th gens, obviously. We were going to be looking at a 4th gen AutoWorks most likely. Filtering for all-wheel drive and manual models only, I discovered this model. This one's looking pretty good at about 90,000 kilometers, which is like 55,000 miles, something crazy low. It looks pretty good in the photos. They are asking, this is showing 7850. When I inquired about it, they ended up sending me a final quote of actually 1,450,000 Japanese yen, which came out to about $8,400. I went ahead and sent them a counteroffer via email. You can negotiate with these people, so keep that in mind. I sent them a counteroffer of 1,060,000 yen, and then because it was the middle of the night there, didn't really hear back for a while. So I kept looking, and on B-Forward I also came across this AutoWorks, which right off the bat looks pretty good. It looks like a good deal. Only about $5,000 for this one. This is also an all-wheel drive. It is a 97 manual transmission car. And I love these in white. I think white's the best color for these AutoWorks. Maybe it's just because that's the color that I always went with, driving these in Gran Turismo as a kid. But we did notice something when I looked over these pictures with my wife, that was a little concerning. So, first of all, going to this fender here, I'm going to use this zoom, and you can kind of see in that fender that there might be a little bit of crispiness there on that inside of that front fender. But then when we go around to the hatch, that's when you really start to notice there at the bottom of the hatch, you're seeing a little bit of rust. And then if we bring her down to this corner, this is where it's really bad. You see those big rust spots there. And I don't know where I'd get another hatch. And the scary thing is, the other one I didn't see any rust in the pictures, but that does not mean it's not there. This one, we do see some rust in the pictures, but we don't know how bad it is. You know, we're just looking at a couple photos. However, this one is also $3,000 less expensive than the other AutoWorks. So I really spent a lot of time stressing, going back and forth, trying to decide, you know, is a little rust worth $3,000? The other one could be rusty too and just not really showed in the pictures. These cars are always such a gamble. And gambling with $5,000 is a lot, but it's a lot less stressful for me than gambling with $8,000. So I really struggled with this. I spent hours going back and forth between the two cars you just saw. I was driving my wife crazy, talking to her about it. She had had a stressful day, and I finally looked at her and I just said, I want you to tell me what to do. And she said that she liked the white one better. I said I like the price of the white one better, and like I said, I'm a little more comfortable gambling with 5,000 than 8,000. Something else worth mentioning is that both of these cars are priced well below, if they are in the condition that they look like, well below what they would sell for in the US market. So I'm referring to it as a gamble, but worst case scenario, if I get the white one here and it is rusty, and I have a rusty all-wheel drive AutoWorks manual, I'm still probably going to be able to recoup at least most of my money back out of it. So, long story short, decided on the white one. Now, the checkout process is pretty easy. Be Forward, I discovered, does usually, once you reserve a car, it gives you an extra discount. Like, I think I got an extra $250 discount by buying within the hour that I reserved it. So that's something worth considering, is that you probably will get a few $100s off. And I got $10 off for creating an account. So that's great. $10 off my $5,000 rusty 1997 car. So immediately after, and I mean probably 5 minutes after I purchased this car, I get an email from Gounet finally replying to my offer and saying, "Congratulations, we 100% will accept your offer for 1,060,000 Japanese yen. Please provide me with your information so we can accept payment." And so then I did have to break it to that salesperson that unfortunately I had literally just decided to go with a different vehicle. So now we wait. Be Forward keeps a shipping schedule on their website, but it's not updated. All the deadlines for the ships that they have listed on their website have expired already. So the next step is for me to wait for them to send me all of the shipping information so I know how long it's going to be before I get my car. And in the meantime, I have to find a customs agent, because while Be Forward is responsible for getting it to the port, I still have to find somebody to help me get it out of the port. So stay tuned. Next video is probably going to be me figuring out the timeline for my car and securing a customs agent. I'm hoping that this series is going to be really helpful for anybody else who's looking to go through this process, and you'll be able to see where I screw up so you don't screw up in the same place. If this is something that interests you, please like and subscribe. I'm planning on making this a playlist so you can watch through all the videos at once that I end up making on this topic. Until next time, thanks for watching.